Okay, so today we are going to read Act 5 of Shudraka's play Mrichchhakatika. Mrichchhakatika is a prakaran, that is the invention of the playwright, where the vastu or the plot is totally innovative and designed by the playwright Sudraka. So we have read first 4 acts of the play. Today we will be reading Act 5 of the play. We find in this act Charudatta, who is lovelorn, and he takes the center stage, is seated. So Charudatta looking up, Charudatta says,
An untimely storm is impending, for the peacocks gaze and spread out their feathers high. The swans, desirous of departing, are uneasy and are out of joy, and the untimely storm instantly obstructs the sky equally as the heart of a lover. The cloud, like the bee and the wet belly of a bull, clad in yellow mantle, constituted by the flash of lightning and bearing a conch shell in the form of collection of cranes, shines like a second Vishnu ready to occupy the sky. The cloud has risen high like Vishnu, the wielder of Chakra, the cloud which is as dark as Vishnu's form, which has for the conch the irregular lines of stalks, and which is clad in the silken mantle of streaks of lightning. These torrents of rain, rapidly falling from out of the cloudy womb, similar to the melted silver and visible at interval through the gleam of the lamp of lightning, fall like the fringe rent from the robe of heaven. Here, the sky itself looks like a canvas whereon are painted several figures on account of those high soaring clouds, scattered and separated by the wind and having various forms, some looking like well united pairs of chakravaka birds, some like swans flying abroad, and others like shoals of fishes and alligators, and a few like lofty mansions. The sky, darkened by the clouds, is like the face of Dhritarashtra. The overjoyed peacock shrills, shouts in joy, like haughty. The cuckoo, like Yudhishthir, vanquished at dice play, is forced to wander about, and the flamingos, like the sons of Pandu, have to pine in an unknown place or have to remain in the state of incognito, reflecting it is long since Maitreya went to visit Vasantasena, and even yet he doesn't come.
what an excellent reading of these lines of Charudatta. Through these lines, we get the glimpse of the ancient Indian writings, especially Sanskrit, where we have an excellent description of nature, nature that has been valorized, glorified in poetic words, can be seen in the poems as well as epics. Even in Shudraka's Mrichchhakatika, we have this imagery of nature excellently drawn with the help of series of alamkaras, series of similes and metaphors. In Kalidasa's Meghadutam, we have this similar description of the clouds. Kalidasa must have been influenced by the work of Shudraka, with whose work he must have been familiar with, because during that time the court poets were all engaged by the kings, and there was a kind of interaction between the court poets. They were all taught in the art of rhetoric and poetic metaphors. We also have in this excellent discourse on the clouds the allusions to several mythological characters like Dhritarashtra, Yudhishthir, the sons of Pandu, and both nature and the human characters are all combined together in this excellent representation of the cloud. The storm is looming large on the space of Ujjaini, and we have some sinister moments that are to come. The Vidushaka enters the stage. Vidushaka Maitri, the friend of Charudatta, he enters the stage, and then Vidushaka says, Oh, how avaricious and discourteous the courtesan is! She's made the least reference to other matters. Over and over she repeated something about the affection she feels, and then in the course of conversation, the necklace was quickly received by her. And with all her great wealth and affluences, she hasn't even told me. Oh, good Maitra, take some rest. Go after drinking a cup of water at least. I shall never behold even the face of this wretched courtesan. And indeed, it has been rightly said, it is hard to find a lotus plant that hasn't a root, a merchant that doesn't cheat, goldsmith that never steals, a village gathering that never quarrels, and the courtesan that is not avaricious. Well, I shall go to my dear friend and turn his thoughts away from this courtesan. So he's walking about and beholding. Oh, why? My good friend remains seated in the orchard. Okay, I shall go near him. So Vidushaka approaches Charudatta, who is, as you have found just now, was in a kind of romantic reverie, thinking of Vasanta Sena and the cloud that is looming large. Heavens bless you, may you prosper. Charudatta looking up says,
Ah, my friend, Maitreya has come. You are very welcome, my friend. Be seated, be seated.
I have taken my seat.
Friend, tell me what has become of your errand.
My errand, indeed, turned out a failure.
What? Did she not accept the necklace?
Where could we have such a piece of good luck? Having respectfully raised to the head her folded hands that are tender and delicate, like the fresh lotus, she took away the necklace.
Then why do you say it turned out a failure?
Why should I not say so? When we have lost a necklace that was the glory of the four seas, for a golden casket of little value that was stolen by a thief, and of which we had neither a bite nor a drink.
Not so, my friend.
Ah, my friend, this again is my second grievance. She made sign in her companion, covered her face with the hem of her garment, and laughed at me. And so, Brahman as I am, I shall prostrate before you respectfully and beg of you to divert your thoughts away from the courtesan, for the course is fraught with my sins. A courtesan is like a pebble that has entered your shoe, and it is with such great difficulty you can get rid of her. And one thing more, my friend, a courtesan, remember courtesan, a courtesan, an elephant, a scribe, a mendicant, friar, a swindler, and an ass. Where these dwell? Not even villains are born.
Oh, my friend, a truce to all your scandals. I have been kept away from her even by my own circumstances. For see, the horse makes all determination to hasten its march, but his legs don't sustain him to that extent, owing to the loss of energy. So also man's fickle desires wander everywhere, but grown weary find repose once more in his bosom. And again, my friend, he who is possessed of wealth can have her love, for this personage is to be won by wealth. Charudatta to himself. No, this personage is to be won over by virtues alone. Now aloud, we have been deserted by riches, and so, of course, she too has been also forsaken by us.
So Vidushaka looks down and then he speaks to himself. For the way he looks up and sighs deeply, I conclude that my effort to check him or to distract him has simply augmented his longing for her. Rightly has it been said, love is refractory. Oh, friend, she asked me to tell you that she would come here even this evening. I infer that she isn't satisfied with the necklace and is coming to have something else.
Oh, let her come, my friend. She shall depart quite satisfied.
So a servant enters the stage, and then the servant says, "Listen, oh good people, the more it rains in sheets, the more my skin gets drenched. The more the cloud wind beats, the more my bosom shakes. I play upon the flute with 7 holes excellently. I can also touch the resounding lute with 7 strings. I sing just like an ass. And what is Tumbaru or Narada in singing as compared to me? I have been ordered by my mistress Vasantasena. Kumbhikalaka, go and inform worthy Charudatta of my arrival. Sir, I am here, going to the house of the good Charudatta. So he is walking about, and as he enters, he discovers Charudatta. Here, Charudatta, here is Charudatta seated in the orchard, and here is that wicked fellow too. So I shall go near him. What? The orchard door is shut. Well, I, I shall hint my arrival to the wicked fellow. So he throws some pebbles of stones at him. Then Vidushaka says, "Hey, who is this that is pelting at me with stone, as if I were an apple tree inside of a fence?"
It may have been thrown by the pigeons that play on the roof of the garden house.
Oh, wretched being! Oh, you wicked pigeon! Wait a while. By means of this stick, I shall make you fall down from the roof to the ground like a well ripe mango fruit. So Vidushaka lifts the stick and runs after the servant. Charudatta, dragging him by his sacred thread. Charudatta says,
Sit down, my friend, let it go. Leave the poor pigeon alone with his mate.
What? What? He sees the pigeon and doesn't see me. Well, very well. I will hit him with another ball of earth." So the servant also throws mud at Vidushaka. Vidushaka looking about in all the directions. "How, Kumbhalika? Huh, I shall come presently." So Vidushaka approaches and opens the gate. "Well, Kumbhi Laka, come in. You are very welcome." The servant enters. "Oh, I salute you, sir. Where have you come from, man? In this rain and darkness?" "Oh, here is she." "Who is she? Who is she?" She. "Hey, what do you mean? You son of a slave? Why do you, like an old beggar in a famine, hiss? She. And what makes you call a crow that is desirous of Indra's feast with your ka? Hey, then tell me. So the servant speaks to himself. "Well, I shall tell him thus. Oh, I will give you a puzzle, and I shall place my feet upon your head. Hey, guess if you can. In what season do the mango trees blossom?" Hey, son of a slave. We all know this. In summer. No. What shall I say it now? Good. I will go and ask Charudatta. Wait, just a moment. So Vidushaka approaches Charudatta and says, "My friend, I shall just ask you in what season the mango trees bloom."
You fool, it is in the spring season.
"Ah, you fool! In spring, in Vasant, in Vasant season, the mango blooms. Don't you know?" Uh, now I will give you another puzzle. Who guards flourishing villages? Why the guard? Hey, no. Well, I have fallen into doubt. Good. I will go and ask Charudatta again. So Vidushaka returns and puts the same question to Charudatta. Same question that the servant has asked. And then returns going to Charudatta, he asks the question. Charudatta replies.
The army, Sena, my friend.
So Vidushaka approaching the servant and says, the army, Sena, you son of a slave. Now, man, put these two together and repeat quickly. Quickly, please, please. Sena Vasanta. Eh, repeat it turned around. So Vidushaka speaks the same phrase, turning the phrase around, words around. Sena Vasanta. You fool! You wretch! Transpose the pada, change the pada. So Vidushaka changes his feet around and then speaks again. Sena Vasanta. You fool! The pad, the letters, akshar. Change the akshar. Vasanta Sena. It is she that has come here. Then I shall inform Charudatta of this. So he approaches Charudatta and Charudatta is told, oh Charudatta, your creditor has come. Charudatta responds to this,
Why should a creditor come into my house?
not in the house perhaps, but at the gateway. See, Vasanta Sena has come here.
Why do you deceive me with false news, my friend?
If you won't believe my word, then ask this Kumbhalika, you son of a slave, come near. Servant approaches Charudatta and says, I salute you, sir.
Okay, you are welcome, my good fellow. Tell me, is Vasanta Sena really come here?
She. Vasanta Sena is come here.
Charudatta joyfully. My good fellow, never have I let pleasing news go unrewarded. Therefore, accept this reward for you.
So Charudatta gives him his mantle. Again, he offers his mantle to the servant. And servant takes it and bows joyfully. I shall just tell my mistress. And he goes out. Do you understand why she comes in a storm like this?
I do not quite understand, my friend.
I know. She thinks that the necklace is of little value and the golden casket is of great value. And being unsatisfied, she has come to look for something more. Charudatta is speaking to himself.
She shall go then fully satisfied.
So then Charudatta enters there enters the lovelorn Vasanta Sena. Vasanta Sena has also fallen in love. She is also attired in a splendid costume, befitting a woman who goes to meet her lover, a maid with a umbrella and a vita. A servant is there with her, and this is the Sringar Rasa that is dominant here. So Vita is referring to Vasanta Sena. And Vita, the servant, says, someone say Vita, Vita's role? Vita says, describing Vasanta Sena. She is the goddess Lakshmi without the lotus flower. She has the delicate weapon of a god of love. She is the cause of grief to women of high birth. She is the bosom of the lovely tree of love. She loves modesty, even in passion's hour, and accompanied by crowds of lovers, as by travelers. She walks gracefully and slow to give her delightful laddob of pleasure as to a Kshetra. See Vasantasena, see. Look at her. The clouds which or those disk-like surfaces hang over the summits of mountains and which are gloomy and drooping like the heart of a female that is separated from her lovers and thundering aloud, and at their roar the peacocks suddenly fly up in glee and fan the sky as if with fans inlaid with gems. And again, the frogs, the mouths wet with mud and pelted with torrents of rain, drink the rainwater. The peacock, full of joy, shrieks, and the kadamba flower glow like lamps. The cloud
screen the moon and bring it to into discredit just as a life of a saint chosen by ominous people as a garb of to veil their vile and mean ways brings discredit upon sannyas and lighting like a low-born maiden flits about without resting anywhere. So Vasantasena enters, and then Vasantasena says,
Sir, what you say is most true. For the night the rival mistress thunders as it were thus we anger. O foolish Vasansana, if the lover can find pleasure with me alone, with me swelling cloud breasts, what business have you go here? And again, she checks me and impedes my way.
"Very well, let it be so. Violet."
And yet, sir, what is the use of revealing one who is jealous, as it as is the nature of all women? Let it be observed, my friend, the clouds may shower torrents of rain, may roar like anything, and may even dash down lightning itself. Women that go to meet their lovers, mind neither could not hurt, heat.
Look up, Vasantasena, look up. There is another, spearheaded by the fury of the wind, and furnished with stole of arrows in the form of big torrents, and with thunder for the sound of drums, and with gleaming banners of lighting, the cloud deprives the moon of its rays in the sky like a warrior king who carries off all the treasures of revenue of a foe who has grown imbecile in this very capital.
True, true. Alas, there is something more than this. These thundering clouds alone, dark like the king of elephants, and variegate because of the accompaniment of lightning and cranes, and with their bellies inflated and consequently dropping down, have already successfully wounded the heart of lovelorn woman. But oh, why should the malignant and weakened heron, which is as it were the drum that sounds the doom of wives separated from their husbands, cry "Pravrit,
Pravrit, rain,
Pravrit,
rain.
rain, rain," and thus thrown being on the wound.
Very true, Vasantasena, and yet it seems as if the sky is desirous of assuming the guise of a fierce elephant, the cranes constituting the white fillets for his front, and the lightning waving the chowry.
Look up, sir, look up. These clouds, black like wet tamala leaves, have completely swallowed up the sun in the sky. The anthills, smitten by torrents of rain, sink down, like elephants that are struck by arrows. The lightning wander about like golden lamps over mansions, and the moonlight, like the wife of a powerless husband, has been forcibly snatched by the clouds.
See, Vasantasena, see, these clouds have for their girdle the strings of lighting, and which dash against each other like elephants, pouring their torrents of rain, or as it were, lifting the earth at Indra's bidding with chains of silver. And look again, the clouds, black like herds of buffaloes, and charged with a stormy wind, and moving in the atmosphere like the seas on their wings of lightning, pierce the earth that is exuberant with fragrance and clad in fresh and green verdure by means of showers of rain, as if with shower arrows made of gems.
Friend, and yonder rises another cloud, darkening as it were all the quarters with collyrium. The peacocks implore to it loudly with their shrill cries to draw near. The cranes fly up quickly and embrace it ardently. And the swans that have disturbed the lotuses anxiously watched it.
True, for see, the whole world lying within the house of rain and furnished with a covering of umbrellas in the shape of multitudinous clouds in the sky, the abode of swelling clouds is now slumbering as it very profoundly. Its eyes, in the form of multitude of lotuses, are closed and motionless. It has lost all the distinction of night and day. The darkness is seen at quick intervals through gleams of lightning, and the quarters of the sky are completely enveloped.
True. See, the stars are lost, like services rendered to an ungrateful person. The quarters of the sky no longer shine. Like wives separated from their husbands, and in truth, I believe that the sky, molten in the fire of the weapon of the Lord of gods, Indra's bolt, falls down in the shape of watery streams. And yet again, the clouds now arise, now descend, pour forth showers, thunder, and create much gloom. And like a person who has for the first time obtained wealth, they assume manifold and strange appearance.
It is quite so. The sky is, as it were, glowing with the lightning's glare. It seems to laugh aloud because of hundreds of cranes that are on high. It is as we're ready to fight with Indra's thunderbolt discharging shafts like torrent. It yells out as it were with distinct roars of thunder. It reels by the force of winds and emits dense smokes with dark blue clouds as with black serpents.
O cloud, you are devoid of shame inasmuch as, while I am going to the residence of my Lord, you terrify me with your roar, and seize me with your hands in the shape of torrents of rain. O Indra, why I ever bound to you by love, that now you clouds roll like mighty lions? It does not behove you to impede my way with your streaming rain when I am longing for my lover. And again, O Indra, just as you, for Ahilya's sake, falsely represented yourself to be Gautama and thus removed the obstacle in your way, so consider that I am now suffering from love's pain, as though descendant suffered then and drove off the clouds. And again, O Indra, go on thundering, shower floods of rain, and even send down hundreds of thunderbolts. Never will it be possible for you to obstruct women that eagerly start to meet their lovers. If clouds roar, let them do so, for men are even cruel. Both but oh, though maiden lightning, you too aren't aware of suffering of maidens.
Madam, do not scold the lightning. She is your friend, like an unsteady golden cord on the breast of Airavata elephant, like a white banner hoisted on the top of a mountain. She, the lamp of Indra's palace, indicates to you the residence of your beloved.
And here, sir, is his house.
This is nothing in which you are to be instructed. Worst, as you are with all the arts, yet affection for you makes me prattle. When you enter here, you must not show yourself to be angry. If you get angry, there is no love, or rather, except for anger, where is there love at all? Get angry and make him angry also. Be pacified and pacify your lover also at the same time. Very well. So much for that. Who is there? Please inform Charudatta of this. In this hour, why the clouds are shining and the fragrant kadamba and nipa flowers have blossomed. She, full of love and joy, and with her hair drenched with rain, has come to her lover's abode, eager to see you, though terrified by lightnings and the roar of clouds. And she is cleansing her feet. The anklets whereon have been spoiled by mud. So Charudatta has been listening, and then Charudatta says,
My friend, kindly find out what this means.
"Yes, sir." He approaches Vasantasena respectfully, Vidushaka, and then Vidushaka says, "Heaven bless you."
I salute you, sir. Welcome to you, sir. Sir, the maid with the umbrella is entirely at your service.
So Vita, the servant, speaks to himself. Very clearly, I'm asked to go back by means of this plan. Let it be so, worthy Vasantasena. Let let your extreme generosity be the price of happiness, and thereby achieve the highest goal of a profession of a courtesan. Just as the highest aim in a market is to ensure a profitable sale, the profession which procures all the joys of pleasure of love, which is the birthplace of all superciliousness, intrigue, deception, and lies, and of which fraud is the essence, and which is the abode of amorous sport.
Good Maitreya, where is your gambler?
So Maitreya Vidushaka speaks to himself. Ah, by being called by her, gambler, my dear friend is complimented. Madam, here he is in the dry orchard.
Sir, what do you call a dry orchard?
Madam, a place where none eats or drinks. So listening to this, Vasantasena smiles. Pray, pray, please enter, madam. So
What shall I say?
Vasantasena gives this aside to her maid. Maid servant is there with Vasantasena, and then Vasantasena speaks to her maid.
What shall I say when I enter?
Gambler, fears the evening happy with you?
Is it possible to say so?
The occasion will of itself render it possible, madam. Enter, enter, please, madam. So Vasantasena enters, approaches Charudatta, and strikes him with flowers. So Vasantasena is striking Charudatta with flowers. And Vasantasena says,
Well, gambler, feels this evening happy with you?
so Charudatta beholding her. So you remember Charudatta's love is love at first sight. And now it is a thunderous night. So beholding at Vasantasena, Charudatta says,
Ah, Vasantasena is come here.
so he's rising up with
Oh,
joy.
my beloved. Oh, my beloved, ever have my evenings passed in listlessness and ever have my nights passed in sighing. But now that I am united with you, oh long-eared lady, this evening has brought my griefs to end. You are very welcome, worthy lady. Here is a seat. Pray, be seated.
Here is a seat. Be seated, madam. So Vasantasena, she sits. And then all seat themselves. Charudatta says,
Friend, behold, behold, the kadamba flower hanging from the tip of her ear and dripping drops of rain has bathed one of her breasts like the prince installed as the heir apparent. Friend, Vasantasina's garments are wet. Let two other excellent garments be brought.
Yes, sir. Good, Maitreya. You better keep a while. I myself shall minister to the needs of my mistress. And the maid servant, she goes and ministers the lady. Vidushaka then gives an aside to Charudatta. My friend, I would just ask the lady a question.
Then do so.
Madam, what brought you here? When the moon too is lost, when it is so dark and stormy? The Brahman, madam, is very Plain spoken. Ah, say rather that he is very clever. Okay, Vasantasena says yes.
Say rather, that is very clever.
Here has my mistress come to ask you what that pearl necklace is worth. So Vidushaka gives an aside to Charudatta. There, I told you so. She considers that the pearl necklace is of little value and that the golden casket is of great value. Being unsatisfied, she has come here to look for something more. The maidservant responds to this. Oh, for my mistress, thinking that it was her own, gambled it away, and nobody knows where the gambling master, who is a spy of the king, has gone. Madam, you are simply repeating what was said before by us. While we are seeking him, pray take this golden casket. So the maidservant then displays the golden casket, and Maitreya reflects. The maidservant says, Sir, you examine it very closely. Have you ever seen this before? Madam, it is the skillful workmanship that captivates my eyes. Sir, your eye deceives you. This is the self same golden casket. Well, my friend, this is the self same golden casket, the very one that was stolen by thieves from our house. Charudatta says.
Friend, the very same artifice that we devised before for the requital of her stolen deposit is now practiced on us. But really, the whole thing I trusted is a mere mockery.
But my friend, I swear by my Brahmanhood that what I say is very true.
Then the news is most welcome to us.
So Vidushaka gives an aside to Charudatta. Shall I just ask where they got this?
There is no harm in that.
So Vidushaka then whispers in the maid's ear. In this manner. Maidservant also whispers in Vidushaka's ear. Quite so. Charudatta says.
What is being talked about? Why are we excluded from it?
So and so.
My good girl, is this really the same golden casket?
Yes, sir. The very same. Charudatta then responds to the comment by the maid.
My good girl, never have I let the bearer of good news go unrewarded. Take this ring for your reward.
So Charudatta looks at his finger and noticing the ring gone betrays his embarrassment. Then Vasantasena speaks to herself. Vasantasena.
Is it for the very reason that I love you?
Charudatta gives an aside to Maitreya.
Alas, for a man who is devoid of wealth in this world, what use is there in the first place of his life itself, being incapable of counteraction? His fits of anger and his favor become equally fruitless. And again, a bird that is destitute of its wings, and a tree that is withered, a lake destitute of water, the snake whose fang is drawn out. These all and the pauper are equally bereft of any use. And again, a poor man is like a house there that is bereft of its inmates, a well that is destitute of waters, and a tree that is shorn of its leaves because the hours of pleasure of those who forget themselves in the company of their beloved yield no fruit to others.
Do not give vent to your feelings. Please give me back my bathing garments.
Worthy Charudatta, it is not proper that you should test me by means of this pearl necklace.
So Charudatta, with a bashful smile, says,
Vasantasena, look, look.
Girl, are you going to sleep here tonight? The maid is laughing. Worthy my dear, show yourself remarkably blunt now. See, my friend, the rain sets in again in great showers, as if to drive away people who are seated comfortably, Charudatta says.
You have said quite truly. These torrents of rain pierce through the clouds, as do the shoots of lotus stalks, the mire, and they fall down like floods of tears shed from heaven on account of this calamity that has befallen the moon, and again in streams which are as pure as the heart of the virtuous, but at the same time fierce and hard like the arrows of Arjuna. The clouds, dark blue like the vestment of Balarama, seem to pour out all Indra's hoard of pearls. See, my beloved, see, the sky is, as it were, besmeared with these clouds, resembling the unguent of the tamala leaves ground to juice, and it is as it were fanned by the continuous cool and fragrant evening breezes, and this red lightning appearing of itself and desirous of uniting with the clouds embraces it as a fondling mistress affected by love at the rising of clouds comes of her own will and embraces her beloved.
Vasanti Sinha, she displays her passion. So this is an intimate moment where we have the predominance of the same rasa. The dominant rasa is here, the Sringar rasa. She displays, Vasanti Sinha is displaying her passion and throwing her arms about Charudatta. Charudatta feels her touch, and then Charudatta also embraces her in turn. And Charudatta says,
Oh, O cloud, roar on louder and louder, for through your kindness my love-stricken frame, in which a desire for enjoyment has been created at the touch of Vasantasena, and which is full of horripilation, being thrilled with joy, resembles the sprouts of the Kadamba flower.
a storm, a base bond. Fellow,
Your behavior is very ungentlemanly, so much as to terrify the worthy lady with your lighting, Charudatta says.
Do not rebuke, do not rebuke the storm, my friend. Let the stormy day last for hundreds of years with ceaseless rain, and let the lightning flash together. For it is on account of them that my beloved, who is inaccessible to men of my position, voluntarily embraced me. And again, my friend, the lives of them are really blessed to those about their beloved have come of themselves, and whose bodily frame is embraced with those of their beloved while they are yet wet and chill with rain. My beloved Vasantasena, the canopy of the garden house with a terrace disjointed at its extremities is somehow supported on the pillars, being quite worn out. The whitewash on this painted wall is cracked, and the wall itself is completely drenched with the shower of rain. He looking up. Ah, the rainbow. See, my beloved, see. The sky yawns with its swollen chin in the form of clouds, as it were, with the tongue of lightning, and its arms in the form of the rainbow being uplifted. Come, let us enter inside the house. They rise and walk about. The showers of rain fall shrill on the palm leaves with low, heavy sound, rumbling on the trees, harshly over the rocks, and violently on the waters, and thereby act as if keeping time like a lute when played upon.
so they all exit the stage.
And we have the end of fifth act, the most important act of this play, Mrichchhakatika. So now we have this Act 5 where the representation of the world, of nature, with thunder, lighting, rain, creating a kind of environment where we have the presence of Charudatta and Vasantasena together. So once again, the entire play is transported into that romantic world of love and romance.
There is a little playfulness in the representation of the characters here, especially Vidushaka, who tries to control the entire sequence of action. And thus, Vidushaka keeps on playing with Charudatta's emotion and taunting him for his love for Vasantasena. This love between Charudatta and Vasantasena has been recorded by so many great writers, especially by Bhasa in the play Charudatta. So we have this representation of this love of Vasantasena and Charudatta presented through this beautiful image of nature, and the entire garden scene of Act 5 represents the spontaneity of such emotional feelings for each other. We also have the presence of Vita, whose representation of nature represents one of the glorious chapters in the history of Indian creativity. Wonderful imagery, analysis of the scene, counting of the clouds, and describing the season cycle like Kalidasa's Meghadutam. We have a wonderful representation of human beings in close proximity to nature. The sinister lightning and thunder is also a premonition of some impending danger that is lurking, like the cloud hovering over Ujjain. So, after this scene, we will have the separation of the lovers. In classical Greek comedy, we also have this romantic plot often surviving, while the tragedy is a form of drama that represents action that is serious. In classical Greek comedy, we also have action that revolves around the coming together of the lovers, the hero and the heroine coming together. There is also a moment of separation where the hero and heroine are separated. For example, in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, the famous scene where we have the romance of Romeo and Juliet, that also has a scene after that that culminates in the separation of the lovers. In romantic tragedy, we find the separation of the lovers. So this particular act of Sudraka's Mrichchhakatika also gives us a premonition of something that is to come, some dangerous moment in the life of both Charudatta and Vasantasena. So this act ends with a sense of hope, a sense of joy, union. Although the wife Duta is always there in the house, she is not presented in this act. And Sudraka allows the coming together of the lovers and gives more prominence to this lover. The title of the play is Mrichchhakatika, or a clay cart. This clay cart will become an important metaphor in the play in the next act, where we will have this clay cart in which Vasantasena will be giving all her jewelry in order to help Rohasena. Rohasena is asking for a golden cart that a neighbor has. As we know the story of Charudatta, Charudatta was once upon a time a rich merchant, but this Charudatta has now become a poor man. And then Vasantasena will be offering the young Rohasena with this jewelry, a clay cart full of jewelry. So jewel also plays a dominant role as a motif in the play. Throughout the play, we have this jewel, the stealing of the jewelry, return of this necklace by Charudatta to Vasantasena, and Vasantasena's re-entry into Charudatta's house, just to give the acknowledgement that the jewelry that Charudatta and Maitri they have lost is actually in the safe hands of Vasantasena. So with this, I conclude this act 5 of Sudraka's Mrichchhakatika. If you have any question or observation, you can say. So this was an excellent reading by my players. So next day I will expect all the players, Mohammad Sahid Ansari, Natasha Shah, Anushka Chakraborty, Pujali Shein, Shumona Ghosh, Kanonika Mollik, and Jafar Ali, to participate in the reading of the next act, Act 6 of Sudraka's Mrichchhakatika, next Wednesday. Thank you very much. You have any question, please ask. No question? Shall I take leave? Okay, stay well, stay safe. Next Wednesday we meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Stay safe.
Bye, sir.
Bye.